What's up, Screen Fiends? Welcome back to the show. Wanted to hop on tonight to talk a little bit about Kevin Smith, who apparently just got back from seeing Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which of course is now in theaters, and a lot of people are sharing their very emotional reaction to the film, of course, given its quite sad content. And Kevin Smith posted this photo, just saw at Black Panther, Jesus, that mid-credit scene worth the price of admission alone. And here you have Kevin tearing up. Classic Kevin Smith post. If you guys know Kevin Smith, you'll know he's a big fan of comic book movies and specifically of the MCU. And also, if you know anything about Kevin Smith, you know that the guy is easily moved. He's easily made emotional. I remember one time he was on the Joe Rogan Experience, and him and Joe were tearing up, crying about their dogs that had passed away. And it was a really emotional moment in the podcast. Either way, Kevin Smith is a guy that does get emotional quite easily. If you saw his latest film, Clerks 3, you'll know what I'm talking about. That film is full of emotion and it's quite sentimental, I would say. But either way, this post struck me as no surprise coming from Kevin Smith. He's a huge MCU fanboy. And like I said, it doesn't take much to get the guy in tears. And I think that's one of his best and most earnest qualities as not only a human being, but as a filmmaker. It's one of the reasons why his films always seem very human. Even when I'm not a big fan of his work, it definitely always is coming from a sincere, emotional place. And I think that's one of the reasons why his style as an artist is so distinct and earnest. Either way, again, I didn't think there was any problem with this. I think Kevin Smith's an awesome dude. He's really one of the best people in Hollywood, in my opinion, regardless of what you think of his work. Again, I really do think this guy means well. His heart is in the right place. He seems like a genuinely friendly guy. But apparently, the Critical Drinker did not view it that way. If you guys aren't familiar with Critical Drinker, he's a pretty popular YouTuber. He talks a lot about movies and complains a lot about the state of Hollywood today. Every once in a while, I think Critical Drinker has a really good take, and I do agree with some of his commentary. But this take really took me by surprise, and it just seemed unnecessarily rude and mean. He says Kevin Smith acts like a complete pussy is a badge of honor. I mean, you almost have to admire his dedication. And I had to make sure this was actually the real Critical Drinker account. Indeed, it is. Again, I thought this was really just uncalled for. Not to tone police the guy; he's allowed to have whatever opinion he wants. But come on, man, why are you attacking Kevin Smith for showing emotion at a movie? Isn't that the whole point of movies? Isn't that one of the reasons why we all love films so much, is because they move us emotionally? I mean, I've definitely cried in many films before. Movies are very emotional and powerful experiences sometimes. And even though I'm not the biggest fan of the MCU, and I doubt that Black Panther 2 would make me cry, I really do think it's an earnest expression of how Kevin Smith feels, and the fact that this is a franchise that means a lot to him. He was probably really emotionally affected by the passing of Chadwick Boseman and the way that the new Black Panther film handles that situation. I've heard many people say that it made them cry. So I don't know how him having an emotional response to an emotional movie somehow makes him less of a man or makes him a pussy. And even though I do think that Critical Drinker every once in a while has some good points to make, I do think that this commentary is very representative of his sort of toxic outlook on entertainment and cinema in general, or entertainment at large, and that somehow having an emotional response to an emotional movie makes you a pussy, and that you shouldn't express those emotions if you're a male. I guess that's what we're supposed to take away from this. Again, Kevin Smith is such a great guy, such an earnest filmmaker, and such a good human being. I just can't imagine attacking him when he posts a photo like this, just trying to share the experience that he had and trying to connect with his fans based on this new movie that's out and that a lot of people are really enjoying and also having emotional reactions to. I think it's the most normal thing in the world. And Kevin Smith is simply celebrating the fact that this was a film that moved him and that he found powerful. And he's being honest and open about that. Unlike some other people that might be posting fake photos of themselves crying, I really genuinely believe that Kevin Smith was moved to tears by this film, and that's why he felt the need to take to Twitter and express that. Again, this guy's a huge fan of the MCU, and he's easily brought to tears, which is, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong at all with expressing your emotions or being an emotional man. And I just think it's really shitty of Critical Drinker to kind of bring this toxicity into play and somehow reduce Kevin Smith's post to just being a complete pussy and wearing that as a badge of honor. Again, as if there's anything wrong with being emotional or with crying as a man, especially in a movie that is, by all accounts, very emotional. So I really think this was a pretty shitty thing to say about Kevin Smith, who, again, by all accounts, is a great, great human being and an awesome guy to work with in the entertainment industry. And that's completely putting his work aside. I love a lot of his films. There's also some of his films that I am not a big fan of. I really wasn't a big fan of Clerks 3, his most recent movie, but I still think that his films do come from a genuinely earnest and sincere place, and they're always distinctly Kevin Smith films. And I really appreciate that he's one of the realest dudes in Hollywood. He's still out here making the movies that he wants to make. He didn't sell out. And I really appreciate that. So I guess I'm just out here sticking up for my man, Kevin Smith. I really love Kevin's work. I think he's a great guy. And I was just shocked to see this post from the Critical Drinker. But like I said, I think it's kind of indicative of his general philosophy and some of the toxicity that he kind of brings into this space in the first place. So either way, let me know what you guys think in the comments below about the situation. Are you a fan of Critical Drinker? Are you a fan of Kevin Smith? Do you think this joke was a little bit over the line? Or do you think it was just kind of a joke that was made in good fun? Either way, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'm interested to hear your thoughts. And also, have you seen Black Panther Wakanda Forever? And what did you think about that? I haven't had a chance to check it out myself, but I will be seeing it in the near future. So either way, thanks so much for tuning in, guys. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for more movie news and reviews, and I'll see you next time.